Well, good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this morning I'm just going to go for a wee mystery drive, and I'm just going to drive round a kind of circular, I don't know, maybe 50-mile route, and let's stop and see if I can get some images along the way. Some might be roadside images, some might be just stopping and seeing something and taking the shot. So join me and let's see where this journey takes us this morning. Time for a wee bit of fuel before we head off, just in case we run out. Well, as we're driving along the road this morning, there's a lot of snow fell on the hills overnight. So what we'll do is we'll head towards the snowy hills and let's see if this makes for some interesting images. Right, so my first stop is I've just pulled in at the side of the road because I don't know if the little camera will make it out, but the snow in the hills and the way the sun's hitting the snow from this angle, because I'm quite elevated on this part of the road, and that looks absolutely stunning. So what I've done is I've taken 2 or 3 little grab shots from the side of the van. Today I'm intentionally using the small camera, so I'm using the Canon M50 camera as my main camera body this morning, just to see if there's a difference from my big camera to the small camera, whether there's a difference in how it works or whether there's a difference in the image quality. So what we'll do is we'll keep driving around, we'll keep looking for more spots, and yeah, here's the images. Right, so I've pulled in at the side of the road again because I've spotted a little kind of pool of water in a field with the trees in the background that might make quite a nice picture. So if I turn the camera around, you'll get to see what I'm looking at. So the pool of water's over there, and the pool of water bridges a dike, and there were some reflections earlier, but what I'll do is I'll take a couple of shots and we'll see if that works out. Right, so right away I'm noticing some small differences with the small camera versus the big camera, and a lot of the small differences are speed. So when I'm taking an image, it's taking longer for the camera to refresh to allow me to take the second image. So that's my first real thing I've noticed by using the big camera, the small camera versus the bigger camera. So I'm still using the same lenses because I've got a conversion ring on the camera, so I can use the same lenses that I'm using with the big camera, but the challenge is speed. That refresh rate is really slow. I'm still hoping the quality of the images turn out to be pretty good as well, but we won't know until we get back later. So let's jump the van and let's see what else we can find. Alright, so I've pulled into the side of the road. I'll just turn round and then that way you can see the view I've got. So I've got the river here, there's a small path leading down to the edge of the river. The river's quite swollen because we've had quite a lot of rain and we've obviously had a lot of snow overnight, especially on high ground. But if I just walk over to the edge of the road where it's safe, if I turn the camera around, over there's like a little burn that comes down underneath the road out here and into the river. So why don't we have a wee wander and let's see if we can see anything that could make a nice photograph, because already I can see a really nice scene. So where the sun has lit up those trees, we've got a kind of meandering burn coming through, and then there's an old rotten tree over on the right, and there's another tree on the far right. So what I'll do is I'll go and get the camera and we'll get set up and let's see if we can capture some nice images. Right, as ever, what's typical is I go and get the camera, come back and the sun's went away. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try out the compositions that I've got here. So I don't want to have a lot of sky in the image. But what I do want to do is frame in the image that old fallen tree on the far right. There's more trees deeper back. You've then got the burn twisting round like an S shape. My focal point, I'm focusing in centre of the image. I'm using f8 ISO 100, but I've also slowed the shutter speed down to a 30th of a second because I'm using the tripod, and that way I don't need to push up the ISO to give me noise. Because the other thing I know about this wee camera is when you go above 2000 ISO, it's not that brilliant. So I'm keeping the ISO low as much as I possibly can. I'll give that a wee try. And I'm getting a battery warning light because it's quite chilly this morning. It's 3 degrees, so it is freezing, but I'm okay just now. I'm just going to take a couple more shots of the scene. Right, so the other thing I've seen, I don't know if this wee camera I'll be able to catch it, is there's lichen on the branches here. And what I'd like to try and do is isolate the lichen on the branches, and that might make quite a nice image. Right, oh, the light's coming back. So with the light coming back, what I'll do is I'll take more of these images and then I'll share those images with you now. Alright, so I've come down to the side of the river, and what I'm trying to do is I'm kind of shooting into the sun here, but what I've had to do is I've had to take 2 images. So I've got a brighter image that gives me a lift in all the shadows. So I'm shooting at 1/50th of a second because I've got quite a nice overhang image here with the branches from the trees hanging over the river, but the sun's coming up on the far side. So I'm having to take a faster shutter speed to compensate for the sky, which that's going to be a 500th of a second on this wee camera. So there's also some nice reflections on the branches that I'll take images of. Plus I'll also take shots of the river going that direction and see if I can use these 2 trees as a frame, and that might turn out to be maybe a nice shot. It might just be a grab shot, but we'll decide when we see it. I'm going to take a shot. This little kind of, it looks like an old wee mini pier that was made out of a stone wall. So that might make quite a nice shot with the sun shining on it. And there's a lot of greens, so the greens are getting quite a lot of saturation coming up, and that could be quite a nice shot. So what I'll do is I'll work the scene and I'll share those images with you. Well, my journey has taken me up through Aberfoyle into the Duke's Pass now. So what I was going to try and do, I know there's small waterfalls just further down the road behind me here. So what I was going to do was take a wee wander down and just test out the camera and see how it handles water, waterfalls, and will I be able to get that slow shutter speed. So we'll walk down and let's see if we can give it a try. Alright, so let's take a wee wander down this road. If I turn the camera around, you'll get to see the kind of general direction that we're walking. I'm just making sure I'm safe for the traffic. Right, we'll catch up when we get there. Alright, so just working my way down through all the bracken and getting tripped up by all the weeds. That's my entry point there where I've come down. We slip every now and again. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll just make my way down to here, because I know I haven't put my wellies on, they're in the van, and I hadn't realised there was going to be so much water. So I'm going to find a location where I can stand to keep my feet dry, and then I'll set up the wee camera and let's see how well it performs. Right, well, let's see how good this is. There. So what I'm going to do is zoom in to the scene a little more. Right, so what I would normally do is slow down the shutter speed to about a second or half a second. So I might have to speed up the shutter speed a wee bit here. And then select a focal area. That could be quite nice. I'm just going to zoom in. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick a darker area. I'm going to slow down the shutter speed a wee bit more, and let's see how that turns out. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I'm quite impressed. I'm really impressed. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to see if I can get lower down in front of the waterfall. I found a spot. Now what we need to try and work out is how low can we get. So I need to be at this level. Right, so I'm going to have to lower the camera quite a bit. I'm just finding an area where I can put my foot. Whoops, it's quite slippy. So if I get a wee bit closer. Right, let's see what we've got here. Oh wow. Right, we've got a cracker. Oh wow, that's really nice. So I'm under the tree. So now I've got choices. With the foreground. Right, so the problem is I've definitely got burnout on that water. So let me find a filter. There's a 6-stop ND. Right, so in my other camera I can tell if I've got highlight clip-ins because it does it automatically. I'm standing pretty precariously here. Right, the one thing this camera does have is a wee pop-out screen. And yeah, that's, oh wow. I really hope that this is going to be quite a nice image actually. Right, Alright, so that's us taking those shots of those waterfalls. So what I'm doing is I'm just walking down to a little path just to see if there's other falls, and if not we'll head back to the van and we'll move on and find another location. Alright, so I've stopped at our next location, but I want to share the view with you. Look at that, the snow in the mountains. Absolutely beautiful. And if we go further round, you'll get to see the views. So our plan is to walk to the top of that hill and see if we can get some nice viewpoints across the Trossachs area over to the Arrochar Alps and maybe beyond. So I think for this one I'm going to put my wellies on. So let's catch back soon. Alright, so that's us heading up to this viewpoint. I'll speak now, because by the time I do this climb I'll probably need 5 minutes to recover, or maybe more. So I'll join you when I get to the top. Stop for a wee breather. You can see the snow-capped mountains. Oh, right, we've still got a wee bit to go. Onwards and upwards. Here's the viewpoint. So it won't be long now. So glad I put my wellies on. Oh, alright, so I've reached the viewpoint, and I'll just turn the camera around and you can see there used to be a marker up there to tell you what all the mountains were, but that no longer is there anymore. So just to share with you what we can see, there's a wee peak between over those trees. That's Ben Lomond. This peak in front of us is Ben Venue. Those mountain ranges over there are the Arrochar Alps. That little peak there is Ben Ann, and then the mountain range here is Ben Ledi. And if I look back the way, that's Loch Venator heading down towards Callander. So beautiful scenery from up here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my time, enjoy the scenery, and I'll see what images I can capture, because I want to get the snow-capped mountains. And what we'll do is, once I'm set up, I'll talk you through some of the images. All that climbing's made me warm, so I've just got rid of the jacket and stuff. But what I'm doing here is I've come over this side of the viewpoint because I want to get more of a panoramic view of Ben Ledi. So what I'll try and do is I'll try and turn the camera around and I'll try a panoramic shot and just see if this works. And then if it does, I'll share that image with you now. So the other thing I've been doing while I'm this side of the viewpoint is I've been taking shots of Ben Ledi, the Arrochar Alps, Ben Ann, because they're getting nicely lit up with the sun. And I'm also looking around to see if there's any interesting trees or kind of heather. So I'll keep looking, and if I do, I'll share those images with you now. Alright, so I've tried to be a wee bit prepared today. I knew I was just going for a wee jaunt, and I've just stopped at 2 or 3 locations, as you've probably seen as we've been going along the video. But I thought, well, now's a good time up in this wee isolated spot on top of one of the hills to have a wee coffee and a breakfast bar, because I haven't really been having my coffee and my breakfast bar on camera because I've been that busy doing other things. But I've got a wee bit of time today, and my cousin Ali remembered that I haven't been doing it, so I just thought, well, why not? And you know what I've done? I forgot a spoon, so I'm just going to have to swish my coffee around a wee bit. There is a wee twig, but I'm never quite sure. Actually, it tastes okay. So I'm going to have my breakfast bar and my coffee in this absolutely beautiful location. I'm on a viewpoint in the Trossachs. It's quite high, it's quite level with, well, it's not quite level with Ben Ann, it's about 3/4 of the way up for Ben Ann, and we've got Ben Venue there as well. So I've taken a number of photographs, so you'll have seen the first batch of the area. I went to the other side of the viewpoint and I've taken shots there, and I'll show those images with you. I'll share those images with you now. And I've also taken some drone footage here, so hopefully that drone footage has turned out, and hopefully you get a sense of the beauty of this area, because it is one of the kind of natural areas that you come up to that's hardly been touched. Yeah, there's a lot of forestry commission work, but it's well kept, it's well maintained. But when we've had the snow overnight, that's a bonus, especially with the sun, so fantastic, and it's warm. So I'm having a brilliant time here. So what I'll do is I'll stop rabbiting on, I'll have my breakfast bar and my coffee, and I'll catch up with you as we head back to the van. Let's head off and find our next and maybe last viewpoint, who knows. But so far, for a wee mystery tour, it's worked out quite well. There's 2 or 3 different places that we've never filmed at before, so The wee camera's actually turned out to be quite good. It's not as good as a big camera, but what I do like is the flip screen and being able to go low and see above the camera. That's really helpful. The other thing, a couple of things that aren't brilliant is there's a lag. So when you press the shutter speed, there's a lag for the screen to refresh that allows you then to take your next picture. I'm sure if I put it into high continuous mode, it would be a faster click rate. But for single shot, that's the one thing I did notice right away, was slow. And the screen on the back of it is hard to see in the bright light because it's really reflective. But anyway, there's not that much going wrong with it. The real proof of the pudding will be, are the quality of the images good enough that when you see them in the video that they've worked out and they look good. Who knows, we'll see. But we'll go to the next location and yeah, let's see if we can find something different to photograph. Alright, so I've stopped at, I think it's going to be my last location. So this is Loch Venacher. I'll turn the camera around so you can see. But what caught my eye was the water levels are really high. And there's an old fence that goes into the water. So I was going to see how far in the water's been and see if I can use that old fence in the wall as a leading line into the loch. If not, there might be other compositions that I can take. So I'm just looking over and looking at a wall which is covered in moss, but the sun's went away, so the sun's hiding behind a cloud, so the light's not very great. But what I'll do is I'll get over there and then we'll catch up when we find something to photograph. Alright, so look right, look left, we're all clear. Right, so I've kept my shoes on. So I'm just trying to find a safe, dry crossing so I don't get my feet wet, because I couldn't be bothered put my wellies on. So here we go. There's a wee stone. Up and over. Right, so the area I was talking about is completely submerged. As you can see, the water lines come right up, and there's the fence over there. Oh, it's totally submerged. Right, let me try and see if I can get a composition here anyway. Right, I'll have a wee scout about, and once I'm set up, we'll connect back. Right, so what I've got is, I've got the composition of the wall, and what I'm going to try and do, because it's dark, I might do a kind of longish exposure and try and smoothen out the water. So I've got a second, so because of the way the light is and because of the setup I've got with the ND filters, I've got a second exposure is what I'm going for. So I now need to work out how I get my exposure dark. So this camera can only go to ISO 100 at its lightest. So I've put it down to ISO 100. Now I've got to play with my f-stop. So in order to get it dark, I put it up to f22. And that should be enough where I don't need to add a lot more filters in to give me that image. So what I'll do is I'm just going to zoom in and find just a smallish type composition. So I'm just tightening up into the fence and tightening up to the wall, because this could be quite nice, because I'm just trying to smoothen out the waters. And because we've got a couple of trees submerged in the water as well, that could make quite an interesting shot. So what I'm going to try and do is put the top of the trunks of the trees at the top, the quarter of the image, and then the rest below. So if I speed up my shutter speed, say to a 30th of a second, drop my f-stop back to 5.6, take that same shot, and then I just want to see the difference in the water. Yeah, so the water reflections are actually quite nice. Here we go. That could be quite nice. So I've got f5.6, a 30th of a second, ISO 100. I'm just going to tilt the camera down a little bit of a smidgen. Alright, so I think I will make this the last area. and then I'll end the video here. So whatever images I take, I'll share those images with you now. Alright, so I am ending the video here. So here's hoping we can make a video out of this. This mystery tour has taken us to different locations. Some locations I've never actually filmed or photographed in. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn out. I'm dying to see the quality of the images with this small camera, just to see what the difference is with the big camera. Who knows, hopefully it does work out, because I've actually quite enjoyed trying to find all the different settings that I'm used to using on this wee camera that I use on the big camera. So if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that'll let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks very much for watching, and here's to the next video.